Hi, welcome to Philadelphia Music, Dance, and Modern Arts. I'm your host, Alicia Allen, and I don't know if it's the foodie in me or it could be that, but I'm very excited for our guest today, and I'm also very hungry. Chef Trek, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. How are you today?
I'm doing really well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we're
wonderful.
We're very excited to have you. You're a huge hit here at Philly Cam, and there's so much to talk about. So why don't you give our viewers a little taste of what you do?
Okay. I'm Delmer Gill, or also known as Chef Trek, and I have the Chef Trek Adventure series here at the Philly Cam, and that's on Thursdays at 1:30 on the Philly Cam channels. But I'm a professional chef. I've been a chef for, give or take, about 35, 36 years. And then I found out later from my parents that both my great-grandfathers, which I didn't know, were chefs in the South. So it's something that obviously was in me.
Yeah, ran in the blood, for sure.
Yes.
And as a child, did you know, were you always, playing with ingredients? Did you know at a young age?
As a child, I was the youngest of four, 2 girls, 2 boys, and I was always in the kitchen, either helping my grandmother or helping my mother. And one thing led to another, but I went to school for radio, television, and film production at Temple University in the 70s, so it's not unusual that I'm still in it because I'm in television now.
Sure, yes, you're also a producer.
I'm also a producer.
So let's talk about how those worlds collide.
I've been finding that so many things are coming back to me, or people I haven't seen in like 30 or 40 years I'm getting back in touch with. Well, actually, I tell people it's not me, it's God. I'm just a tool. I'm just the implement. But it's been a blessing.
That's beautiful.
It's been nothing but a blessing.
Okay, and for some of our viewers who maybe they're unsure that, going back to the culinary world, they think they want to get into it. What is your advice, since you went to school for production more, and it naturally fell into play, but what's your advice for young cooks, aspiring chefs out there, how to get started, or training and things like that?
Well, the Chef Trek Adventures, it's based on what I call my 4 F's: faith, family, friends, and food. And it's about, as I often say in our shows, be ye not afraid in the kitchen. In other words, be willing to try new things, experiment, and I've been just blessed. Just like it's such a wonderful thing that you're hosting this show. I've been blessed to get a co-host and another executive producer, and that's a friend of mine, Mia A. Bird, who's another chef, and we've been friends for, 20 years or so. So it's about connecting, it's about having faith in yourself, number one. And what I like to tell the younger people is just like, be confident in yourself, learn to love yourself. If you can learn to love yourself, you have to make room to love everyone. But it's about confidence.
Sure.
Faith and confidence has got me a long way.
I can see that. I can
Yes.
definitely see that. So this is just the curiosity in me. What is your favorite dish to prepare?
Oh, people ask me, I really don't have a favorite dish. I like a lot of Caribbean food. I can't eat hot food like I used to. But I really don't have a particular dish that I like to prepare, simply because I'm always fixing something. I'm
Okay.
just always fixing something.
Well, you are, because we're actually about to take a clip of some delicious food you prepared for the whole crew here today, and I know we were all very happy with it.
Oh, it was a blessing and a pleasure.
Yummy. I want to take a nap right now, but let's go ahead and take a look at some food you prepared with our producer here today.
Alrighty.
Very good.
everybody. This is Ray Ray, Philadelphia Music, Dance, and Modern Art Show. Thanks, Alicia. We're using some special space-age technology to bring Chef Trek from the main studio to his kitchen studio. And today we're going to do a little bit of cooking for our crew. We're going to be making a Mexican dip together, me and you, and
Sounds like a plan.
Corn relish, correct?
That would be a black corn, black bean relish or a salsa.
Or salsa.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So,
But I mean, you know, it's all good here.
and we're going to make some chips, tortilla chips as well.
And we're going to fry up our own little tortilla chips. What are we going to start with here, Ray?
We're going to start first with our beef. Today we have roughly 5 pounds of beef. We have a lot of people, so we got a lot of meat, and we're using an 85%, 15% blend because it's leaner and there's going to be less time to drain the grease essentially. So
Yes.
you'll start off with a little bit of oil.
We're going to add just a wee bit of oil there.
Okay. And then
And we're
just
using
throw that in.
our induction burners, which temperature control. We're doing this right now on a high heat, but these are temperature controlled, and it's very efficient. I mean, very portable. And of course, even in this large saute pan, we're only going to be able to do a little bit at a time. Now, Ray, tell me, what spices are we putting in this?
Well, the dip we're going to make is a layered dip. So it's really our only opportunity to add any seasoning to it because we're using a lot of pre-made ingredients like salsa and cheeses from the supermarket. So what we're going to add today is a little bit of garlic powder. We're going to use a little bit of smoked paprika. We like the smoked paprika because of the smoky flavor.
Exactly.
It definitely gives more bold flavor, and it's something that people notice. They say, what is this that you did that's so different? And it's just really the smoked paprika. Then we also use a little bit of chili powder for the Mexican flavor, a little bit of onion powder, cumin, which goes a very long way. It's a very specific flavor to Mexican food, but really stands out as a Mexican flavor. And then cilantro, also a very Mexican herb. We also use just for, again, flavor, but more for texture because we already have the onion powder and we already have the garlic powder. We use a little bit of freeze-dried onion to give some texture, and some
this
regular
freeze-dried
garlic, minced garlic as well. Again, and these are more for the textural component since we are already using this stuff for flavor. And then salt and pepper.
Now, I'm figuring since we went over our spices that we're using,
and you're going to want to use them in the cooking so that it has a chance to really marry with the meat.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add
Half in there and half in there.
Exactly, half and half. And this is more or less about a good tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half that we're adding now. And
yeah, that's what I would say. I would use a tablespoon of all the spices, except for the cumin. I would go teaspoon.
yes,
Teaspoon of that for
Which is the
everything
same
else.
thing that I
Tablespoon
would
on everything
do.
else. And again, we're making 2 9x11 containers of this, which you'll see later in the program. So we do have a lot of meat and a lot of spices. I would say on the meat side, maybe 2 pounds is good enough.
And we're looking at about a tablespoon there.
Yep.
Now, we can do a draining.
A draining. Sounds good.
And we'll put our induction burner on pause.
Let me get out of the way.
Oh, no, you're fine.
You want me to get the spoon and help
Yeah,
you
would
with
you
that?
please?
Whoop.
As you do the royal rake.
The royal rake. I like that.
Now, we are going to get our corn ready. Some of the people that work with us with the Chef Trek Adventure is oftentimes I'll add an ingredient and then I'll recap. We just put about the equivalent of 4 cans of whole kernel corn, which has been drained. And we're putting it on a sheet pan. I put in about a good tablespoon of the freeze-dried red onions, about a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. That was about a half a teaspoon of the dried cilantro, about an eighth of a teaspoon chili powder. I'm going to just toss this. Now, behind me, I'm going to put this in the oven and let it go. It's a high oven. I have it set for about 400 degrees. And we're going to let this roast, give or take, 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm doing as Ray had done. Cut that I already cut the ends off, cut the carrot in half. And we started with the carrot first because the carrot is the hardest of the veg we're using. So
And it's going to take the longest.
It's going to take the longest time
Right.
to cook. Absolutely correct.
I was thinking. I know.
Even
I may not be a chef, but I'm a man that likes to eat. Man that likes to eat. Stay healthy. I made an awesome sage vanilla bacon.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, that was quite amazing. It was great for a breakfast meat. The flavors really melded well. I tried a lot of things. Food is experimentation, really.
Absolutely.
You have to try some things. All the things I tried didn't work, but when you try things and take chances, you sometimes come up with greatness, and that I think was the best one. I mean, people were really asking me to make more for them. However, making bacon is a 11-day process. So making everybody bacon because they loved it was not very easy to do. So what I do is I give it to people on the holidays now. You could smoke artichokes, you know, on top of the meat, on top of the bacon. You can smoke anything. It's like the paprika. The smoked flavor is just, you can't really emulate it any other way except maybe liquid smoke. But that doesn't give you the variety of a hickory or a mesquite or a cherry wood, apple wood. Each one imparts a different flavor. Smoked cheeses are even good. I've had a smoked mozzarella that was just ridiculous. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. So.
Now, all of these items are going in here, correct?
Yes, just for a moment.
Okay.
Is the way I would do it. This is sort of your recipe and my recipe mixed because he made this for one of the other shows while we were crewing, and I liked it so much that I got the ingredients to redo it. But breaking bread with somebody is one of the most personal things you can do.
Absolutely.
And most intimate things you could do is sit at the table and dine together. It's a very basic human thing. It's a basic human activity. And that's how you grow your family. You bring friends over to eat, and they get to know everybody, and everybody's stomach is full, and you laugh and enjoy the time that you spend with each other.
Absolutely. And this is just like, folks, this is just in the process of beginning to smell so good.
Yeah. And just looking at everything, I mean, I love the colors, the bright yellow, bright red,
and
bright green.
Well, we're going to let this cool.
Yeah, roasting corn has that wonderful effect of caramelizing the sugars in the corn.
The chives will be added at the end, and there'll be more of a garnish.
Yeah, that's the route I would go.
I am in my family home where I grew up, and I developed my love for cooking primarily from my mother and my grandmother. My grandmother's been gone and home to be with the Lord for quite a while. But I often say during my shows, as my parents got older, my dad took over doing a lot of cooking, and he would often say, taste the food before you add salt and pepper. Please give the cook a break. Because I would be quite guilty, and also my late wife, Beverly, because we sit down and you go, my thumb's over this, so don't think I'm doing this. But we go, salt. My thumb's over this again.
Yeah.
And
there's our chives.
We're like salt and peppering before we even taste food. And my dad, who also has gone on to be with the Lord, has always stressed that And that's why I like in my shows to stress it to you. But Big Gil would say, hey boy, get a cook a break. I'm going to back this off completely, and we are going to combine this with our corn, correct?
Yes, that's the next step. Combine everything in a bowl and then stick it in the fridge for
Yes,
a
because
little while. Hit it with a little vinegar.
Is we are adding in the bowl our celery, now we have what? Celery, leeks, carrots, a bit of salt and pepper, and
And a pepper.
and green pepper. Thank you. And I'll be doggone, man. This looks great.
It does. It smells.
It smells wonderful. We've got this, and it's looking mighty good.
It does look great.
Smells great. To our half sheet pan,
Okay.
and this is just so it will cool quicker.
Right, so the heat's not stuck in the middle of.
Yeah, because see,
That
if you were
large
to
bowl.
leave, if you want this to cool, and you were to leave it in this bowl, and this being, especially being a metal bowl, the heat will continue to cook this. I'll be right back as I go to the refrigerator.
To the fridge.
Now, what's our temperature we need for our oven, Ray?
We could do the oven at about 350.
350.
Yeah, 350 will work because everything's already cooked and prepared.
Okay.
We're just really melting the cheese and warming it up for our guests. So we're going to use half of our prepared beef.
So now, what's the next thing we're gonna add? Here?
We put a thing of sour cream
Your sour
and
cream.
just layer that on top. Yep.
Great.
These layers could be any layers.
Exactly.
This is something that my wife really does for all the parties, and everybody likes it this way. So typically, I would put onions. I like onions. My wife doesn't, though. So you have to sort of accommodate everybody
Absolutely.
sometimes.
Now, our salsa.
Yep.
Or would you cheese?
We do salsa and then cheese and then olives. Now the salsa is another component that we did not make, but is a component where you could try and experiment. They have all kinds of crazy salsas out there that are pre-made.
Absolutely.
They have guava salsa, mango salsas. Just to name a few, they have a lot of them. So
now on our cheese,
you could go
we have a
a
nice
different route.
grated cheese.
Yeah, just again a grated Mexican cheese. We're trying to just save ourselves some time. If you wanted to go a little bit more upscale, you can grind up your own cheese.
Absolutely.
A pepper jack cheese, a Monterey Jack
Absolutely.
cheese, some cheddar, and again you can experiment with multiple cheeses that you might like, a Swiss, a provolone, on top of what you have, maybe a
I'm just
Mexican queso,
To
which is a
top
little bit
this
saltier.
off. Or are you a heavy olive person?
I like olives, so go for it.
And we're gonna pop this in a 350 oven. And for about how long?
Really till the cheese bubbles.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Now, we have an assortment of tortillas.
Yes, we have a selection. There's sun-dried tomato basil chips.
Yeah.
We have a jalapeno cheddar chip, as well as a garden spinach herb chip. And
Well, let's.
basically, they're just wraps that people make wrap sandwiches with.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of variety and a lot of selection with a lot of flavor that can help you make different chips and again, experiment. If you see something in the market that you like, that's a tortilla that sounds appealing, get it, cut it, fry it up.
Exactly.
And you never know, you might find something amazing
Exactly.
that your whole family and all your friends are going to love, and they're going to be asking you for the recipe.
And we're
You could
just
always stick it
doing-
on Pinterest or something.
We're gonna cut the small ones first, and we're just gonna do it in little triangles.
Little six, like pizzas, like a pizza pie.
That's right. And on these, Now notice they're all the same size, so I stuck them all together. And I'm going to do this. Not quite, but close to about the same size. More or less.
And you can vary the size. I mean, if you want
Exactly.
squares, if you want triangles,
Hey,
you know,
a diamond, or is that a kite?
Rustic cooking is what we're doing.
That's exactly what it is, rustic cooking. And we're gonna just do a few of these.
And you'll notice
time.
if you do it at a lower temperature and your burner isn't quite as high as you'd like it just yet, you will still get a crispy chip.
Sure.
It's just, it tends to be a little bit more greasier.
So probably, since I'm seeing this, if you're gonna use the white ones, you may wanna do them separate,
Okay.
but not necessarily.
And I'll take these when they're done, and taking again the philosophy that we're going to use the same seasonings
Exactly.
across the board. You know, maybe you throw a little bit of garlic powder on them,
Sure.
just to sprinkle while they come right out of the grease.
Exactly.
While they're sticky, maybe a little bit of the chili powder.
See, it's the same thing when
And
you
the
get
onion
your
powder.
French fries. If you're adding salt and pepper or whatever seasoning, put it on while it is hot.
Yes. And I need a bit of smoked paprika as well. That was hiding back there. And it's funny how they look. They're bendy and they're moldable and such. But as soon as they hit the paper and the grease drains out, they become hard and crispy.
Yes, yes, yes.
And yummy.
We are adding our roasted corn, our carrots, our green peppers, and our celery. And we'll get just about all of that in. And we have our nice black beans. And that's 2 cans actually of a nice black bean. And the remainder portion of our salsa, which is the same thing we put in our Mexican dip. And we're just going to toss, and toss. Oh man. Bring on the chips.
Yeah, we're gonna top that off with chives. Exactly. You could throw a little bit of apple cider vinegar in there to give it a little bite if you like to as well. A little touch of sugar to bring out the flavors. Just a a touch. It's really strange how that does that. In certain sweet dishes, you want to put salt, and in certain salty dishes, you
Exactly.
want to put a little touch of sweet.
Exactly.
Just to bring out the flavors, make them pop a little bit more.
Certainly.
Sort of like a philosophy where you put cayenne pepper and chocolate,
Exactly.
or chocolate in a mole sauce. All sort of the similar thing. The contrasting flavors help bring out the major flavor.
And we're just, I mean, that's
Just a
barely,
touch of it, yeah.
barely a tablespoon.
Just to make it pop.
And we're going to do a little mix, do a little mix, do a little mix. Okay, now we can get our Mexican dip, which is right here. We've got this here. We have this here. And we're going to take a bit of this from here. Personally, I think this looks nice.
I agree. I'm ready for
Okay.
lunch.
Okay.
All right, that was great, Chef Trek. The food looks excellent. It tasted excellent. We tried it as well, and we're going to feed it to the staff back at the studio. So we're
Yes.
going to be right back after a few messages from some of our partners here at the Philly Cam station, and we'll throw it back to Chef Trek and Alicia back at the studio in about 2 minutes.
And you know, I forgot
See you
to
there.
say, thank you, Ray Ray, for guest hosting on the Cooking at Home edition.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Chef.
It's a blessing. Thank you.
Get ready to talk the talk with your hosts, Charles Gregory and Madam Touch. Bring you the latest news from Philadelphia and around the world. We're talking about everything from fashion to politics to music and technology. So if you can walk the walk, we're going to talk the talk.
Welcome back. That was really delicious.
It was a pleasure to prepare it.
Please, can you come every day?
Oftentimes, I'm here often.
Well,
I am here often.
That is good to know. So let's plug again for your future shows, because I know our viewers out there are going to want to know times to check you out.
Okay.
And yeah, so let's talk.
Okay, like I said, Chef Trek Adventures airs on Thursdays at 1:30.
1:30. Okay.
And the show is broken up into two aspects. There's the Cooking at Home edition, and we prepare what you have seen on the clip that was done at home. I've turned my kitchen into a studio kitchen. And then speaking of studio, we do the studio version of our show. And that's done with a live band. Our house band is the Sound Barrier Experiment. And we have a live audience, and we also have incorporated puppets in our show.
I love it.
The puppets will be coming on and off. They weren't on our last studio show, but the audience, and then there's so many things that have been a blessing. One of my major supporters is the Federal Reserve Bank, which is where I work. I work for a company called Flick Dining, but they support me in my shows, and it's just been a good effort. But I can be reached through delmergill.me. That takes you to my Chef Trek Adventure website, and I also have brought back an old thing from my college days. I was a broadcaster at Temple's Jazz Station. I used to do a show called The Sound Collage, and that was on the weekends from midnight to 3 in the morning. So I brought back the Sound Collage, and that can also be linked from my delmergill.me.
Very nice. Well, I'm sure all of our viewers will definitely check it out.
All right.
And thank you so much for sharing your delicious dining adventures with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure and a blessing to be here for you're the producer of this show. Is such a wonderful man. And actually, Ray Ray worked with me on that. Now, Ray Ray is officially the second Philly Cam person that's done the show with me. Jay Mohan, who's the access manager, we just did a shoot a couple of weeks ago called Flavors of India. So, and then at our last,
we're gonna have to check that out.
On our last in studio shoot, Anton Haywood, who is the membership director at Philly Cam, sat in with the band and played lead guitar. So it's just been a marvelous, marvelous thing.
It's beautiful. Well, we're excited, and we'll definitely check it out. And thank you so much again for being with us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure and a blessing.
Well, thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye, Philly.